Hello, everybody. This is Janica, and today I'm thrilled to be having the spiritual leader, the wise elder, an original native of America, a musician and an author, and an ambassador of peace, Joseph Reuben Silverbird, on my show. Hello, Reuben. How are you doing? And welcome to Wisdom from North.
It's nice to be with you. I'm very happy to be. I've looked forward to this interview um, because I've also seen you and see the work that you do. But I'm here in Vienna at the moment uh, and I'm ready to listen to your questions and try to answer them as well.
Yes, and we were supposed to meet in Oslo, but then you had to go to Vienna. I know you're very busy, but you went to this event, this Isogaisa Sami event up north in Norway, where you were speaking to indigenous people up there, and I so wanted to go, but then I felt like, okay, I'm very grateful that I get to meet you and speak to you because ever since I was a child, I've been very attracted to the native people and the indigenous people because I felt that you have a wisdom and you're more connected to the earth and that you have something to teach us. And I know that you've written a book, I think it's called something about living in two worlds. And I was curious about that. Like, how was it like for you to grow up in these two different worlds?
It's just something that, in a way, came natural for me because I came from a family that always traveled and with all kinds of people. My parents were thespians, theater people on stage. They were singers and dancers and musicians. But my father was unique that he owned his own show, and he was a character actor, a fantastic character actor. And so I grew up in this atmosphere of two people that were, my father was a wisdom keeper, and my mother a medicine woman as well. So these are gifts that I inherited from them.
Can I ask you? I've heard about this term wisdom keeper. What is that?
Wisdom keepers in America are considered people that have much wisdom. My father lived with words of wisdom. Everything was a word of wisdom. Any encounter with life, with anybody, he used words of wisdom to talk to them. Um, it's just amazing the things that he could talk about that had to do with the past, present, and future. And I grew up with this being privy to all this wisdom. I learned from it. I also, at times, didn't want to learn from it because I kind of didn't want to know what was coming, what was happening. When you spoke to people, I didn't want to sometimes even see through them. My parents had that unique, uh, if there were ambassadors or diplomats, it was my father and my mother. Um, Diplomacy is a very important thing that is missing in government today. You see, they attack each other, especially during the elections. It's already happening for the next election in America. They attack themselves in such a way. They don't use wisdom, really wisdom. It's there. And I think you're born with this. As an Indian, my father had this wisdom. My mother had the same thing. To be able to sort out a problem and figure out, well, this is why it happened. Now we have to find a way to correct it. Um, in other words, my mother used to say, there are no problems, just solutions.
Oh. Not even challenges, only solutions.
It's the solution that's important. The problem is already there.
Huh, that's an interesting perspective. I love that.
And some, our governments today, they create friction. Then they go around and say, well, we have to solve this. But they already know what they're doing. So this is the 21st century government in the world. And at one time, a group of our people went to the United Nations in America, in New York, and we tried to tell the United Nations at that time, which was about 30 years ago, at least, um, that there were two things missing in the United Nations, and that was a love for the environment and more spirituality. You see.
Has this always been natural for you, or has it been a spiritual journey? Like, have you gone through a spiritual journey, or has it just been there? Like the most natural thing. This is the way it is. The way you're talking now, like the way you perceive reality as something spiritual.
Um, I strongly believe some people are born with this knowledge. The knowledge of um, be able to communicate at a distance, telepathy, mental telepathy. We're all born with terrific gifts, wonderful gifts. And one of them is mental telepathy. You know, let's put it this way. How many times, and I tell my seminar people this, I ask them, how many times have you heard the phone ring? And you pick it up and you say, oh, I was just thinking of you. This is mental telepathy. We don't realize it. And I also tell people, the reason we don't use this is because we're too civilized.
Oh.
We're overly civilized. Or we're made to think that we're over civilized. Okay? We've been made to think of other things that are important in life. They're not really important in our life. The most important thing in our life is our own mind, our own mind control. We should concentrate more on ourselves than we do.
Okay.
You see, I tell people, how many of you listen to your body? And I get a lot of looks and questions sometimes. A girl came over at the end of a seminar. What did you mean by listen to my body? Well, people should listen. Your body talks to you. You can be very happy if you listen to your body.
Do you feel, I'm curious about this, do you feel a connection to the Sami people? Like, is it some unwritten rule that there's similarities between the indigenous people around the world? Is there a bond there?
Absolutely. A senator just made a statement a couple of weeks ago that we should listen, that the government should listen to the indigenous peoples of the world. They should get advice from them because we know this Mother Earth that we live in. The energy, she is flundering on the energy that she has right now because we are not giving her, we are not helping her with the energy. Our energy and Mother Earth's energy is one.
Okay.
And we are hurting Mother Earth by not combining that. I was with somebody earlier. I had lunch with somebody, and he was telling me he likes to have lunch with me because he questions me and back and forth. And he said to me, you know, there was a group that got together and they prayed together in a circle. They held hands and they analyzed this. These people analyzed it and found out that there was some kind of quietness in the world while they were doing this. Well, I feel the same way, that if all peoples in the world got together at one point and did a prayer from the heart, their own, but if they held hands in circles all over the world, they would see the difference of what could happen to Mother Earth.
Yeah, I
You
believe that
see,
too.
this is a faith that our people have in America about Mother Earth. And it's missing. It's missing now. My new book talks about this.
Yes. And you're saying that this is absolutely not religion. That you're saying that it has nothing to do with religion. Can you talk a little bit about how you perceive religion and how it's different from how you perceive reality?
Well, I strongly believe that, see, I've studied in this book that's coming out, the new one, I talk about 21 centuries, the beginning, the first century, to where we're at today.
Okay.
It is an interesting book because I touch on things that have happened way before, a little before the first century, and continued actually downhill. And all this happened because of religion. It is the manipulators, the people that learn how to manipulate. You know, people are beautiful people. People are still very naive, many people, and they can be guided. And when I say guided, if you say the right words, but if you are a manipulator, you could get them to do things that are wrong, that end up hurting the world and the people in it.
So, do you believe, or the native in America, I don't know if there's something general, but your culture, do they believe in a creator? And is he or her or that force outside of us, or are we the creator ourselves?
We believe, many of us believe in the Native American. You know, there's 565 different nations in America that still exist in America.
Wow.
And there are over 300 different languages.
Wow.
All right? Well, in all this, our belief is in the great mystery.
Oh.
We believe in the great mystery. And why do we call it the great mystery? Because there is no scientist alive today that can tell us where we came from.
I like that.
Okay? This is true. They keep searching, and they will be searching forever. Now they're going into the alien world. Aliens came here, and that's why we're here. They brought us over. I mean, they've got all kinds of theories. But it is the great mystery. That's what it is.
So we have to leave it at that, in a way?
Well, we could have left it at that, but unfortunately, you know, you yourself must know that we had many gods in ancient times. There were many gods. Jupiter was a god. There were so many of them. Um, I have studied theology. I have studied the theology outside the Bible, because what you have in the Bible is one thing, but there are so many things missing from the Bible.
Okay.
There are 50 some books missing, including, if you study this, you'll find that books were excluded from the Bible.
Like the Nag Hammadi libraries they found.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
And the discovery of the in the desert, that the scrolls that came to light, that they're still working on.
Yeah.
Okay? And the thing is, don't forget too that my belief about ancient scribes is that they duplicated each other. They wrote something that they heard from somebody else. And if you are a churchgoer, you will also hear from a preacher, and then God said this, and then God said that. Yes, but who heard God say this?
Yeah.
You see, there's the whole mystery of this. The way we live is the way we live.
But do you think that... Oh, sorry.
No, and we must be able, earlier I told you, we must be able to have control of our mind. And those people, whoever, and I mentioned them more in my book, were responsible for making us change to believe in one direction. And if we study that direction today, after we're grown up, a lot of us never grow up really, but if we're growing up in the mind, then we realize that it's wrong. It's a myth. We live in a myth. It's mythical. This world is very mythical.
Oh, that reality is a myth, or?
Not really. No, reality is you and I talking right now.
Yeah, that's real.
That's real. That's reality. Myth is what they've given us from, let's say, the 3rd century on. They gave us things that these men were so powerful. And when you have power, which I pray that there's a powerful man now, very wealthy in America, running for president, and I really hope that people don't listen to him too much, because he has a lot of money, but very little up here. And I know the man. This man is dangerous in a way. Politics are not an important part of my life, except that it's been politics that caused the disaster of my people.
Yeah.
And usually it's politics that causes the tragic things that happens to indigenous peoples, because power takes over and they can take over peoples.
Yeah.
But we have one thing that is needed, because they've taken everything else, but we've kept our spirituality. They haven't damaged that, because the more people try to hurt you, and the more you retreat and try to figure it out and stay passive, the more your spirituality grows.
So let me ask you, when you pray, it might be personal, so you don't have to answer if you feel like it's private, but when you pray, do you pray to some creator outside or someone inside of you, or do you feel like you have an inner master? I'm just wondering about where do you go when you pray?
I close my eyes. I do a blessing with the audience before I start to talk, and I do it with flute, um, and I ask them to close their eyes, take a deep breath, and say a short prayer from the heart, and just to go away to another space. And I do the same thing. I also close my eyes. I play. You'll never see me with my eyes open playing.
So just
You know?
going within.
Right. You just go within yourself.
And that's
You
where the
are.
wisdom is.
You don't realize how powerful you are. We don't realize the power that we have inside.
So it's in the heart. The wisdom and the power is in the heart, you feel like?
It's in the heart. It's in your mind as well.
Okay.
Because you have to think about this. I mean, it comes from here, the third eye. Okay? It's a center. We are a center. I've worked with a lot of leaders, including the Dalai Lama, and, I met him originally at Stanford University in America many years ago when he was very young, and I was younger too. But he is a privileged child that grew up, and they said, this is the chosen one. I wonder what that feeling is, because my parents thought I was very special.
Okay.
Because I was born without sight.
Oh. Huh.
Yes, I was born without sight. I was born blind. And I was blind and lived in the world of darkness.
For how long?
4 years. Oh. And living in the world of darkness, you learn
to listen.
many things that you don't learn in the world of light.
Huh. Interesting.
And the thing is, there are, I believe a lot of people think that, well, no, I want to go from the darkness now to the light. Well, no, I believe there's as much beauty in darkness. I don't think we spend enough time in darkness. Okay, there are so many things. I know many blind people today, and they're very super intelligent. Okay, so what happens, I think that when you're missing one of your gifts, something else takes over.
Right.
Your mind takes over. And your mind gets to be used more than the 10-15% that we use it today.
Oh.
We don't use our mind more. I think of 2, 3, 4 things at a time. And a lot of people have a hard time accomplishing one.
Oh, so you're saying that you have this ability to actually use a bigger part of your brain or your mind than 10 to 15%?
That's right.
Wow.
We should. We all have that ability. But we don't exercise it.
Right, yeah, I think that was what I was feeling. Because when you meditate, you often close your eyes, and then I think you can train your mind, and then it's about, I think, my feeling is that it's about consciousness to access a deeper or bigger part of the consciousness, and that we're only using, a little amount of our awareness in our everyday lives, and we take a lot for granted, so we don't notice things really. But when we, take the time to really observe things and really feel them, I think we can expand that awareness and then use more of the senses in a way. That's my feeling.
That's why I suggest that people should go walking a lot. If not jogging, walking. Because at least although you're looking where you're going, at least it gives your mind the freedom to think of things that you don't think about otherwise. You don't, and if you try that, you will find that you'll say, why didn't I think of this before?
Yeah.
How many people have said this? You see? And the reason is because we don't use our mind as much. We have been, I say, brainwashed to think in one direction only.
Yeah, I think that we're conditioned in a way, like the way we were brought up has so much to do with the way we think and our belief systems. And I think sometimes that's difficult to admit, because I'm curious about what is mine really? Like, what beliefs are actually mine, authentic? Or are they my mother's or my father's or the society or my brothers or my friends? Like, I wouldn't know. And how young was I when they first, just got stuck, in my body? But I guess that's part of the journey, to realize and to search for what's me and what's outside in a way, and to differentiate and to come back to what's authentic and real for me. I think that's part of at least my journey.
Reality is a very important thing that they've been researching in the 21st century on TV. Reality. What is real? And of course, this has helped a lot of people, but not the general masses. The general masses were brainwashed, if I might say, beginning around the 3rd century, and it went on and on and on, and it got stronger and stronger, and these people got stronger and stronger, and before you knew it, they had robots. They no longer had people. They were robots. Okay? We've had robots in human beings since the 2nd, 3rd century.
So what can we do?
The solution is I told you earlier about gathering groups. Again, I have to mention Isokaisa.
The festival.
Okay, groups that stand together in a circle, and they do a simple thing, like they all own drums and they drum together, and this goes on and on and on and on, and it's amazing what the drum can do. That is a very sacred instrument for my people. The drum is the circle of life.
For your people too, not just the Sami people?
Oh no, our people, it's a great thing for our people.
Oh.
It's a great people. The drum is, we have a northern drum and we have a southern drum.
Oh.
And if you were to go to a powwow in America, you would have to move to the drumming, the power of it. The Sami are learning. I told them this.
Huh?
They're learning to get their culture back. In fact, they borrow the shaman, what they call the shaman, Eric in this case. He does a lot of things that are Native American influence, like the use of sage. Are you familiar with sage?
Yes, but who are you referring to now?
He is a Sami shaman.
Eirik Myrhaug?
Yes.
Yes, I've interviewed him.
Okay, him. All right. He was there, and he's there every year. And his ceremonies are very similar to ours.
Huh.
You see?
Yeah.
And I have this ceremony in one of my videos that I created, that I filmed in Arizona, where I bless the 4 directions. If you see this video, you will see me doing this that I filmed in the Arizona
Yeah, he does
last
that
day.
too, actually, Eirik. He did like a drum session with me 2 years ago. I made a video about it. So, can I just ask why you're doing that? Is that kind of to balance the world in a way?
Um, I think it should be done more than once in a year. We have powwow season in America, and powwow season starts in September. Um, I think that people that make a trip to America should make it a point to visit the real part of America that is there, was there. America has no antiquities like they have in Europe, castles and all that. The only antiques they have, they still prosecute, and it's our people. We're the antiques. We're the only thing that America has that's original. That's America. And the only one that really understood this was President Obama. He's the only man, when he was running for president, at the end of his campaign speeches, he would say, I want to be president of all the people, including the Latinos and Native Americans. No other man in history has ever made a speech like this. Can you imagine? And I could tell you why, but it doesn't make any difference.
Yeah.
And he's the one man, one president that has invited our people to come to Washington and spend one day listening to us and talking to us.
How beautiful.
One day a year.
Yeah. And it should
You
be
see,
it should be like that. I'm just so amazed sometimes that our world is not like that. It amazes me because we have so much to learn from each other.
it's important that we come together as one.
Yes.
In my new book, I say this. The only way to solve this is that we unite as one.
Yeah. That's beautiful.
And maybe this way we'll be able to change the course of the world. Because we've gone so far off balance, we're beginning to notice some of the changes. Scientifically, I don't like to talk about consciences against unconsciousness, talking about the stars and astronomy and all, because we're living here on this planet. This is the Mother Earth we have to protect. It's a sad thing that the language that we use with people here is not earthy enough for them to understand. That's another thing.
What do you mean by that?
Well, generally, you'll read a book, and I speak a lot about this in my new book that I'm finishing now. And the title of it tells you the story. It's called Spiritual Solutions, True Spiritual Solutions with a question mark. And at the bottom it says, the answer within.
Oh, I like that. That says it all, doesn't it?
Yes. It's within yourself.
Yes.
It's within yourself. And, I have another saying that I might have sent to you, that I sent a lot of people, and that's walk in beauty.
Yes.
This is another saying that is our people saying, the Apaches and the Navajos were one at one time. And in fact, the Western Apache speak the language closely related to the Navajo language. Okay? Well, we have this poem. It's a very long poem called Walk in Beauty. Now, and I say to the people, if you walk in beauty, how can you do anything wrong?
You know, I want to end there because that was just beautiful. Thank you so much. This has been a thrilling conversation, and I've learned a lot, and I'd love to speak to you again sometime in person. So if you come to Oslo, or if I come to where you live or are, then I'd love to meet you and have another interview. But thank you so much, Reuben.
And if I come to Oslo, I'll call you and maybe we'll have lunch together, okay?
That
And
would
that
be
way we
lovely.
can meet.
That would be lovely. Well,
Okay?
thank you so much, and all the best with your beautiful work.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Pleasure.
watching, guys. Much light from Oslo. Bye bye.